Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome. First time for all of you, so happy to see you. There is no you. None whatsoever. For some of you, this might come as a shock. For others, it will be a great relief to know that you don't exist. All of this is existence itself. Some of you have already noticed there is no need for you. No need of me. Others of you, when you hear this, a kind of panic comes over you. But this panic, or this fear of emptiness that you feel, is also part of the illusion of you. If you look right now, wherever your attention happens to be, in the body, mind, or world, and you ask the question, where is this me that I'm constantly referring to? And some of you will say, I'm not constantly referring to it. But if you look at your experience and what you know to be your mind, you will see that inferred in everything you think, do, and say is this me. And especially if you look toward those things which trouble you, or which you think are a problem. If you look deeply, you can see, for many of you very easily, that you do not exist in your experience. That your experience is going on fine without you. In fact, some of you have noticed that the less you there is, the more life is radiant. This radiance, which is available to all of us, is your nature. This radiance is referred to as the self, by some, as being, consciousness, bliss by some. This is your nature. We, of course, experience this radiance, this self-radiance, in the mind and body as I. I refer to this experience often as the first awareness, I. Sri Bhagavan said the first awareness is I, and if you were to do nothing else, but simply to go with your own heartbeat and your own breath, and the recognition, I, as your mantra, this alone was enough to bring us to the recognition of self-radiance. Why? Because it's always here. We're not other than self-radiance. Unless there is a you or a me. When there is a you or a me, this is a reference always to some past experience. We think there is a me who has experienced things in the past. And the sum of these experiences is what we refer to as me, mine, or you. So the sages tell us keep falling back away from the experiences of body, mind, and world. Do it now. And recognize that you are having the experience in this moment of yourself as self-aware. You know beyond a doubt, I am here, don't you? Every person here knows I am here. This is the foundation for knowing your true nature. Your nature as being, consciousness, and bliss. Every time that you bring attention back from your story, from your beliefs, from your concepts, into here, now, you return to yourself as awareness itself. Not awareness of body, not awareness of thought, not awareness of world, sound, taste, touch, smell, but yourself as that which is aware in this moment. And soon you'll come to realize you have no need to make any conversation in your own mind about the experiences you're having. They are simply what is, and you are that which is aware of them. Now, of course, when I say you are that which is aware, in a way you can say I'm just using a metaphor. Because as I already said, there is no you. So awareness is our direct experience, our direct perception of all that is here now, in this moment, before the thought me, mine, or I. So the inquiry is about returning to this very first impression, if you will, I, or I exist. Knowing this, leave everything else alone. Enjoy the dance that goes on around you. All this dance which you experience, every thought, sensation, desire, everything is rising in pure awareness as I. It is not different from it. It is not separate from it. There is nothing. You needn't get anything. Or push anything away. All that is here, now, is arising as awareness in the body-mind. Its foundation is pure consciousness. You are that. So even the statement, I am aware, in some way, is false. There is only this. Whatever this is, you know it as your own self-aware nature. Remain as that. Let everything which is arising in body, mind, or world come and go. Rest as that which is aware. This rest is the deep rest of your own nature as being, consciousness, and bliss. What you are seeing, as soon as you come to a full stop and experience yourself as awareness, is that thoughts can come to the mind, memories can come, sensation can come in the body, pleasant as well as unpleasant. All these experiences that seem to arise as soon as we begin to inquire, who am I? What is this? Am I aware? What is aware here? As soon as we begin this interior searching, this interior looking, it's not really a search because we already know that we are here. So there's really nothing to find. But it can appear as a search. This is the activity of vasanas alone, of tendencies, which you have carried around throughout eternity. But you can notice that these vasanas, these tendencies, are very attractive for you. They're the foundation of conditioning, which also, by the way, does not exist, but it appears so we talk about it. What you see in body, mind, and world is the manifestation of tendency, nothing more. The difficulty that we get ourselves into is that we begin to identify with what is rising in body, mind, and world. We forget. There's only awareness, being, consciousness, bliss. This is also the activity of the mind, is forgetting. So you can stop beating the mind with a stick every time it throws up some tendency. You can know that these tendencies are rising into your knowing so that they can be burned up. They are burned up by your commitment to let go of them, not to cling to them, not to understand them, not to find where they came from, not to spread them all around among your family and friends so they know something about who you are, but rather for you to use as part of your sadhana, just to know that these tendencies are there and you are free of them. They are not you, though they appear in the guise of you. But if you come to the understanding directly, right now, not later, now, you come to the understanding, there is no you. This whole conversation is just wiped out. So you can ask yourself, what is it I'm clinging to at this moment? And realize, this is not me. If it is not you, what do you have to say about it then? If there is no you, there will still be the aware perception that something is present in the mind. Something is happening in the apparent experience. This will still be there. But if you know there is no you, you have taken its power. Our tendency, for most of us, until we realize who we are, is to give power to the thoughts, the emotions, the past, our projections into the future. This is where we place the power of life itself, having completely overlooked that where the real power lies is in the recognition. Awareness is here as this. Everything else is passing. In every experience you have in this moment of body, mind, or world, every experience you've had in a past moment of body, mind, or world, every experience you can have in some potential future moment of body, mind, or world is a projection of misunderstanding. So finish it now. Give yourself the benefit of living your life free and untouched by whatever's come before. Do this by always checking until you are absolutely certain that your full experience is that you are here. You can check if the mind slips away, some memory is coming, some projection for the future is coming. You can remind yourself very simply and very directly, not with a big stick. I am aware. Finish it there. End of sentence. Slowly or quickly, based on your tendency, you will come to understand that everything is passing, but awareness itself. That throughout all of your experience, past, present, or future, there's only one thing, if you will, one no thing, which is ever present, waking, dreaming, or sleeping, past, present, or future. That which is aware. The knowing of any experience whatsoever, even of me or mine, is the recognition that you are self-aware. But normally, you step right over this self-awareness and into the experiences themselves. And you think, this is where I find myself. This is where I find who I am. By searching through this catalog of possible experiences and memories. When all you needed to do was recognize you are aware. That which is aware is here now. Remain as that. The greatest fear that comes for many people is that if they just remain as that which is aware, the dance of life will stop. I can assure you it won't. The dance will go on. There just won't be any you dancing. And by there being no you dancing, you can truly enjoy the dance. Whether the dance is pleasurable or the dance is difficult. If there is no you, there is freedom in the dance. And all of this is that. You are free. when you are free, you are both still and moving. Not as you, but as life itself. So now, if you have something you'd like to share or something you want to ask, we have a microphone up here. Just raise your hand, we'll bring the mic to you. If you've just dropped everything, stay there. It's not better one way or the other. Just what is.
Hello? I would like to hear you speak a little bit about, the concept used is spiritual bypass. I guess this is enough to mention.
Yes.
Because all you said and all others, maybe, or most others, which is, it can also be used as an excuse for dealing with things.
Yes.
So maybe
not for not dealing with things. Spiritual bypass, an excuse for not dealing with things.
Yeah. No. So maybe I don't need to say anything more. I would like to hear your thoughts about this.
Tell me what you're thinking. Why is this question rising for you first, and then I'll talk about it.
Well, I'm fighting with it.
So, yes, how are you fighting with it? How is it appearing for you?
Well, I don't have a short answer because this has been going on the whole time, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less.
So are you saying that your experience is that you catch your mind trying to slip around things by saying, there is no you, there is no me? Is this what you're referring to?
You could say that, but it appears in many different guises. And since I have read a lot and thought a lot, I know about the whole machinery, but that doesn't mean I don't get fooled by it. Mm-hmm. No, I would say if I had some particular things in my own life, I would put it out, but I don't see it like that now. More like like a general question: how to counteract this tendency that I think we all have.
So this tendency is akin to going to the doctor, and the doctor says, yes, you have this, I'm writing you a prescription, you go to the pharmacy, you get this, go home, you take it, you'll be fine in one day. Spiritual bypass, walks out the door, takes the prescription, goes to the chemist, gets the prescription, puts it in her back pocket and forgets it. And comes back a week later to the doctor and says, nothing happened. Doctor says, you took the medicine. She says, oh, no, I have it right here. It's here in my pocket. This is spiritual bypass. So it has its root, in some way, in resistance. And I'm not talking about necessarily a conscious resistance, where you say, oh yes, I don't want to do the inquiry, or I don't want to engage in deep self-reflection about what vasana is appearing at this moment. I don't want to do this. This is spiritual bypass, but also can be very subtle. It can just be you simply put your resolve out there. Yes, I'm going to look at this, and then you forget. And 3 days later, you remember that your intention was to look at whatever it was that was troubling you at that time. And rather than doing that, you just left it as a low burning undercurrent in all of your experience. So somehow you know that things are unsettled, but you don't know why. And during that whole period of time, rather than just being able to look directly at the fear, the difficulty, the emotion, whatever is there, being able to use the light of consciousness to look directly at what you think is troubling you. You simply say to yourself, oh, it's okay. Rishi said there is no you, so I don't need to worry about it. As long as there is no you, I don't need to think about it. But then this keeps rising, but it doesn't any longer rise into awareness itself. It rises in a way that it impacts every single experience you're having. Right? This tendency is still there, it's unexamined, and so it continues to somehow trouble you in your life and your experience. So in order for there not to be a spiritual bypassing happening, what there needs to be is persistence and commitment to ask this question: when I refer to me, or mine, or I, what am I referring to? You see, the bypass itself is around some mental tendency. At the base of every mental tendency is the belief there is a me. That this you-ness, this uniqueness which I seem to experience, is mine and it is me. So the remedy is always the persistence of asking the question, what is aware of this? Or what is this I that thinks it is having an experience at this moment? By doing this, either slowly or quickly, we undercut the root, which is mind, which is often referred to as ego. The reason is we're not feeding this ego with its primary food, which is attention and belief that where mind goes is real. That because mind says something, it is true. This is ego's food. By asking the question, am I aware? What is aware? What am I referring to when I ask? Who am I even? We are continually withdrawing that food from the tendency, from the vasana, until it is literally starved out through lack of interest, through lack of attention. We do this through persistently returning here and now to the recognition that which is aware is here now. And this can be possible in every moment of every day, or it can be possible at the very moment that you have realized, oh, I think I've been bypassing for the last 3 days. Oh, I think I've been bypassing for the last week. I haven't really wanted to look at anything. But okay, now I see, awareness is here again. I am here. I'm that which is aware. Now, whatever it is you were bypassing is simply cut loose, right? You have not examined it. You have not made it more real by feeding it food. You've simply said, oh, I see, I'm aware now. I wasn't aware for the last week in any really profound way. I mean, I know I was aware, but I wasn't deeply aware because I was scurrying around. Mind was running like from tree to tree, hiding behind every tree stump in order to bypass this real looking. Now I'm aware that was happening. So that one, which is aware in that moment, has already solved the dilemma of spiritual bypass. So don't make it a problem at that point. So when you talk about, this has been a problem for me, often in the past, understand that at the moment that you recognize that you are aware now, all those moments that your mind is telling you that you have been guilty of spiritual bypass, they are gone. Where are they? They have burned up. In this moment, a present moment recognition. So keep bringing the attention which you would previously devote to what we're referring to as spiritual bypass, and which many, of the traditional texts and many spiritual teachers talk about as spiritual bypass. Just understand that when you recognize even that spiritual bypass was occurring, it is already finished. So now don't make this your problem. Make the recognition, I am here now. I am aware. make this your recognition and rest there.
I understand what you say, but I think also it can be more subtle and deeper than that. That even this can be a story. I am aware now. It can be part also of a... But it's difficult to talk about this, of course. But
Yes, well, of course it can be deeper, but the very first thing that we have to do is we have to create some recognition that we are truly aware, and that actually something like spiritual bypass, when it comes to our recognition that this is what we've been doing, there's a tendency to go back into this mind dialogue of beating oneself up around this process of spiritual bypass, or this recognition that for a while I was apparently unconscious. So what we're doing by this persistent coming back with a deep recognition, this is not a surface recognition in the mind. I am that which is aware. This is not the mind saying this. This is coming right now full on into the center of being, as you can be right now, resting as awareness itself, full on, not here, here. So we have to go beyond this surface thought, which you're right, can then be used. If it's just a surface thought, can become like a mantra that we have going in our mind all the time, but we don't listen to it anymore. It's just not deeply effective for any reason. So we don't want this. We don't want to turn this recognition, awareness is here now, into a mental concept. We want to have the direct perception. We experience that here in the heart, not here in the head. If you come down now to here, you'll see, if you are firm here, you cannot even follow what I'm saying up here. You simply can't follow it if you are aware here in the center of being. Now I promise you, you don't need to follow it, because if there's anything that's being said here that you need to recall later as part of the experience of self-reflection or self-recognition, it will naturally and spontaneously arise. Why? Because it has settled here. It doesn't need to be caught here. So when I say, if you have gotten lost, return to the recognition. Awareness is here. Here. You can feel this? Within your own being, where are you aware in this moment? Can you point to a place or a feeling? Where is awareness?
to me, it's a contradiction. Awareness is not, it's not a place. So,
Then what is it?
well,
How do you experience it? How do you experience yourself as awareness?
I think that's too many words at once for me. So, to me, saying something like "I'm aware that I'm here now" is also a story, because
Then tell me what's before that.
so what I'm fishing for is the understanding that everything you said, and this is not a personal criticism, clear,
Yes,
but everything you said is also a story,
Yes.
and it can be used as a story
Yes.
by the spiritual bypass machinery.
Yes.
So there's really no, the way I understand it, there's really no formula you can use to get out of it.
That is correct.
So anyway, it would be useful to speak about it, but I'm not expecting something like that. And also, I cannot say what awareness is. Or if I should, that will be a new story, but I would say something like, awareness is not an experience, it's that it makes experience possible, something like that. So I would not say that I'm aware of being aware so easily.
Yes.
That is something I'm, just a little step away from reality, or a new story, but a very subtle story.
Yes. So when I say to you, and what is before that? Okay? I'm not asking you to name something. I'm not asking you to give me an explanation. I want you to come here with me now and show me what is before that. What is before all these explanations?
I guess this is the answer now. This is where I can practice in this kind of borderline silence place.
Yes.
Not really a place.
Stay here with me. Thank you. If you are ready, don't be afraid to jump now. Very good. When you reach the point where no more dialogue is possible, there is nothing left to do but jump. This is standing on the edge of the mind's cliff, and there is nothing left to do but jump into this silence. There's no explanation in the mind which is going to satisfy at this point. Only the silence, which is your nature, before all of these concepts, will give you the rest and the peace that is inherent in your being. At this point, there is nothing you can do. Nothing. Only allow the silence to draw you back over and over. Now, no books can help you. No concepts can help you. No videos can help you. Only the silence, which is your own being, can guide you from this point.
Thank you. So I think I have been at this borderline before, but I think now it seems I'm not afraid of leaving that behind anymore. So it seems to be, yeah, it's about time now.
Okay, good. Yeah, it's about time. Sometimes when I talk about these things, I use things like you're at the edge of the cliff and you need to jump. And this is just to help address what happens in the mind for many people, is that this fear comes, that everything is dissolving, everything is gone. Now there is only space. But this is really not true. What is really true is you are stepping into something which is closer than mind. It's not a great distance. It's here. And you are that. So only some little reassurance for the mind can set you onto this place where you say, ah yes, I see now, okay, I'm finished with that, and I'll put it down. And you don't go somewhere else, you just come here. Finally, you come here. And I can say, ah, welcome, nice to meet you. This is the self saying to the self, welcome. Now your task, if you have a task at all, becomes just to relax and remain there. And then any time that these tendencies or these ideas or these concepts which you've carried around for years and decades and lifetimes, when they rise, now you just simply let them drop again. Before, you grabbed them and said, I have this tendency. Now you say, oh no, now I see. This is a tendency, so I don't need to grab anything. It's just a tendency rising. There's nothing to grab hold of. Now you are nobody, going nowhere. And everything is happening in the space of the conscious awareness which you are. Makes no difference, you're a saint, you're a sinner. It's all just going on around. And the surprising thing is, though, that more and more you become gentle, quiet, loving, kind. There was a sage here many years ago. He passed in, I think, last year or the year before. Some of you know him, Mokkabhuti Swami. He lived here for many years on the mountain. He would often get very cranky with people who would come up and try to speak with him or touch his feet or bow. He would run into the forest often. But just as likely he was just to pick up a stick and swat somebody across the back when they tried to bow in front of him. Whack. But the interesting thing was that people almost never experienced that as something that was painful. They experienced it as his grace. They realized that there was no malice in this. There was the recognition that to hit this person in a certain way at a certain time in a certain place would open something in them. And they could feel his grace and feel his compassion, even as he struck their shoulder or the back of their leg. So just because I say you naturally in this way become more compassionate, more gentle, more kind, does not mean you lose your fire. Because it's not your fire anymore. So something is directing this activity.
I would, I would say, okay, let's jump. But still, many stays on the edge of this mind's cliff because of fear of emptiness, because how can it disappear and how can we jump? Because I know it's simple, but still, a lot of people stays there, or most of us, or I would like to jump, but who is I, okay? But
So yes, the way that this jumping occurs is not by some thought in the mind, some visualization, I am jumping off of the cliff. The way this jumping occurs is by the complete recognition that this I, which even is contemplating jumping, is false. So that it can completely shatter and fall down. Then what's recognized is there was never a cliff anyway. There was no jumping. There was just space. And all the things the mind thought it was going to need to do, move to the edge of the cliff, drop this, drop that, jump. This was all just another story of the mind. Yes.
thank you.
Yes. And for those of you, if you've had this experience where you felt yourself on the edge of the cliff and you've been unable to step off in some way, I just encourage you to be kind and patient with yourself. That you will wait there on the edge of the cliff until it dissolves, till the cliff dissolves, until whatever it is there. But the way to encourage that, if you will, you don't really need to, but the way to encourage it is always to ask the question, what is aware? What is thinking this thought about jumping and cliffs, and what is this, where is this thinking occurring, who is it happening to? This is Bhagavan Sri Ramana's way, to ask what is thinking this thought, what is aware of this thought, and then to have this response, I am. So there's this recognition that there is still some I-ness which is there, and then to ask the question, who am I? But still, it can be some time, even after this question has dissolved for you, that in other words, it no longer the question, who am I, or am I aware, or what is aware? These questions of inquiry, they just don't arise in the mind anymore. But still there is this perception that some I is still subtly there. At this moment you wait. Because what am I waiting for? We don't know. But what the scripture says, what the sages refer to, what is always pointed toward, is this experience of something called grace. Again, we have this concept, there is some concept in the mind, there is nothing there. But there is this moment where this recognition, who you are, is here. And this is why I say, at some point, be willing just to wait. Waiting in this case means every time something rises in the mind, body, world, as concept, experience, and so on, don't pick it up. This is true waiting. Okay? This is not a suppressive thing, and it's not a very passive thing. It actually can be quite active. The near enemy of this kind of waiting is impatience. So, enough said.
how don't we take it out?
Through replacing anything that comes to body, mind, or world, which seems distractive or seems, to be taking us away from where we want to be, to replace that with the recognition, I am aware, and resting as awareness itself here in this moment, which is what we can experience directly, you see. Not as the mind, right? Like I said to him, this is not happening in the mind. This is happening somewhere. If I say, where are you? You say, I am here. You don't say, if I say, where are you? You don't say, over there. You say, I'm here. You say, I can't see you. Where are you? I am here. So we know that there is some sense of centering that happens in the experience of recognizing, I am here. This is the center of the universe. This is not the center of this body-mind. This is the center of the experience, I exist. So this is where we're going, right? This is the place we want to come to. This is why it's not enough. So many people struggle with inquiry and other spiritual practices for many, many years. And that's because they're here. So they think the inquiry, the question, who am I? What is this?